Welcome to the Great Distraction.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is California. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Thomas,
Aloha,
Rick,
Hey, everybody.
and Glenn.
Howdy ho, folks.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder. And speaking of episodes, this is actually our 50th episode.
Big 5-0.
It's compared to a lot of other podcasts, maybe it's not that high, but for us, man, that's like over 50 hours of recording, and not even including all the practice stuff we did before that. But big deal for us. And man, after 50 episodes, we just want to remind you guys, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know what you guys think. Give us
Talk
some
to us,
feedback.
people.
Yeah. Everything has been going great so far. We look like we've got a lot of topics laid out to continue. Take us another 50, no problem. The Facebook page has been going quite well. Let's see, at this point, I think it's, let's see, we're recording this earlier. So right now, I think it's about 1,400 likes. Man, I know we got people out there listening. Tell us.
Talk to us, people.
Yeah, give us some feedback. We
Say
want to hear
hi.
some more. If you got topic suggestions, we'd
Introduce
love to hear
us
it.
to your cute friends.
Tell us about your cat.
Yeah. Whoa. You start well, hold on now. You start inviting the cat people in, things are going to get weird.
Hey, you know what? A little weird's all right.
Yeah.
We are in California.
We are weird.
And we do have a shop cat here. So
true.
yeah, we aren't anti-cat. That was just a joke, cat people. Don't get offended.
I think we got distraction from my earlier comment.
You can send us your cat memes. Just post them on the Facebook page. Anyway, okay. So California. I don't remember why we chose to pick our 50th episode to be on California, but I don't know. Maybe it's because we're all from here and we live here every day and we deal with all the craziness and the good and the bad and the ugly. But we do have a lot of listeners that are not from California. We can see from the demographics and the stats that get generated. And yeah, I guess we thought it would be kind of cool to go over it and maybe squash some horrible common stereotypes, or let them know that we're not as they might have heard that we are. And
Oh, dude, we gotta go catch that gnarly wave, man. It was like
Right.
hella large.
exactly.
And we all live by the beach.
And we all eat In-N-Out.
We
Every
do
day.
all eat In-N-Out.
That
Yeah.
might actually be the
Just-
only.
I actually have one
right.
down the street from my house, so yeah, I do.
Yeah, that might be closer to true.
Yeah, that one's kind of true.
But we definitely don't live all by the beach.
However, I do expect that our East Coast people out there are killing some White Castle, because if I had access to little tiny cheap sliders, I would intentionally eat as many as I could just to try and beat
Until
my
you got
previous-
sick on them.
Oh, you know what? They said the same thing to me about In-N-Out.
I spent a lot of time drunk in White Castles back east.
Yeah, and they said same thing. Okay, so one of our buddies actually warned me one time, dude, never drink while eating In-N-Out. Don't eat In-N-Out when you're drunk. I didn't listen. I did spend a good portion of that night throwing up In-N-Out.
Sweet.
And it was terrible.
Yeah, I wrote a theme song for them. You want to hear it? For In-N-Out. I've been trying to sell it, but they never respond to me. Here it goes. In and out, in your mouth, out your butt, in and out.
I can't believe,
They
I
didn't
can't
buy
believe you
that?
just did that, Thomas. So we had a celebratory shot or two before we started recording this episode. I think it hit Thomas a little harder, or maybe it was the bowl beforehand. One or the other.
Hey, return my calls, guys. I think it's a good one. It's all people. It's short,
He said,
to the
"Please-
point.
Please write me on Facebook. I'm
Hit
not
me
a
up on
weird-
Instagram. PM me.
Awesome. Okay. As per tradition, I got a whole bunch of cool little stats that I found that I thought was just some interesting facts about California that kind of blew me away when I was researching it. Most of it's off the wiki page, so if you're interested, just go hit up the wiki page for California. Nevertheless, I kind of thought these things were kind of cool. So, just under 40 million residents in California, highest populated state in the country. 40 million. That's crazy.
It's one or two.
Yeah, it's a couple. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, keep going.
All right. Los Angeles is the second most populated city in the U.S. New York City is, of course, the most. Los Angeles County is the most populated county in the U.S., however. We have a $2.9 trillion economy, which is by far the largest in the U.S. It is larger than most multiple state groupings combined. If California were a country, it would be the 5th largest economy in the world, which is crazy to think about. That puts us over like the UK, India. There's a whole bunch of others that they had listed out there.
Who's number 2?
Oh, that's a good question. I did not. Who does number 2 work for? I didn't look at the ones that were higher than us. To be honest, that was. I should have done that. I would be interested to find out who number
Good
1 is.
job, Ben.
I know. I failed in my stats.
Jesus.
Oh man.
Sounds like you just lost that game.
I lost the California game. A lot of people lose a California game here. Roughly 59% of us speak English. 29% speak Spanish. That's crazy. Almost 1/3 of everybody here speaks Spanish.
Is that bilingual or that's their primary language?
Don't know. Can't answer
Okay.
that. Sorry. The way they wrote the way they wrote the percentages out, though, it totaled 100. So that kind of makes it look like it was not bilingual. Just that was the primary language.
Primary languages?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Because
say-
there's a ton of people who are bilingual here.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds pretty high for that's the only language they speak, but it sounds really low if they were bilingual.
I bet it's the only language they speak. Because keep in mind too, we don't really live in the rural areas where there's like
do.
high. Well, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Get out there and meet more Mexicans farming the agriculture area in your area.
Solve this problem for us.
Solve-
Rick.
Maybe that's why they don't say hi back, because they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
And they're assuming that
hell's
you don't
that
speak their
gringo saying?
language. Gringo.
Get away from me, you white devil.
Damn. Mothers, protect your children, or your daughters. Highest peak is Mount Whitney at 14,505 feet, and we actually have the lowest point is in Badwater Basin. It's kind of an ironic name.
How low is that?
Negative 279 feet. 279 feet below sea
wow.
level. That's pretty interesting name for a place that's below sea level. Like,
Right.
you are a basin, and now you're Badwater Basin, and I'm imagining the water there. I don't know. It's below sea level. It's kind of weird, right? It's like a puddle.
Well, I always wonder what Salton Sea was, because Salton Sea is kind of in a weird location, too.
I don't know.
I'll have to look that one up.
Badwater Basin, I guess, is listed as the lowest.
Inquiring
What do you
minds want to
mean, the
know.
elevation?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to look it up. We have, and on that note, we have here in California an extremely diverse geology. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
We have everything from deserts to snow-capped mountains to hills to forests to beach, shore, everything. It's
We're
pretty crazy.
one of the only states that has snow all year round in some parts and a beach.
Nice. I did not
I mean,
think
think
to
about, 'cause
look
you
at
think
it that
about a lot
way.
of the states, you know.
Yeah, well, some parts are frozen over and they're like complaining about it. And some people are like, "This is heaven."
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of times in California you can go to the beach and go surf, and then go up in the mountains and go skiing.
And some people love
The
that.
same day.
Yeah, specifically about Sacramento. Living in Sacramento is kind of geographically located where you can do those. There's like a wide range of things that you can drive to do.
They're
Skiing,
2 hours.
hiking. Go ahead. What are you saying?
2 hours from everything.
Yeah, 2 hours from everywhere. Yeah. What was I saying? Okay.
Except with traffic.
Well,
That makes
also-
it 4 hours. Depends on what direction you're going in and where you're headed.
Yeah,
right?
if you're trying to head to like San Francisco at
yeah.
Oh boy.
Just turn around.
3 o'clock in
Just-
the afternoon,
just give
it's
up.
going to be a 6-hour drive. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're from Oakland, you're about 2 hours from San Francisco. Which is across the street for those of you not.
That's one slow bridge.
Yeah.
It's a toll plaza too. That thing will
Oh,
take you
man.
forever to get through, man. And
Got
then
to
they
pay
keep
in pennies there or something. What's going on?
Oh, dude, yeah. People paying the $6. I think it's $6 now.
All in pennies.
All in pennies. Change in the bottom of your car and the floor of your car.
I'm going to start doing that when I go to the toll booths. I'm just going to hand them pennies.
Nice.
Say $5 here.
And they'll make everybody wait. You probably won't piss that guy off who's working there because he or she ain't going anywhere
Still
anyway.
getting paid, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
you going to count those?
Oh man, I wonder what they would do. I wonder if they would actually take. I guess they would have no choice. They'd have to take it,
Nah,
right?
they tell you to fuck off. And they'll give you a ticket and you can pay like the $30.
Nice. It is considered a global trendsetter in many, many markets, from the movie industry to a lot of the clothing industry. I mean, there's all, including the music industry. There's all kinds of industries that just set global trends from here on. It's yeah.
Well, yeah, man. We're the cool kids.
we are the cool kids on the other side of the world and on the other side of the country. It's kind of weird. But New York also sets a lot of global trends as well, too. So a lot of stuff pours out of there as well. But
Like what? Crime?
I think
and fashion
California's got
mostly,
that
but-
one too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really,
but they're
huh?
better at it. They're meaner.
Are they meaner up there?
Yeah.
Because it's colder?
Yeah, our gangsters got beaches and stuff to enjoy.
They're all in convertibles,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Dang.
Yeah. Be hard in a convertible, I dare you.
right?
Let's see.
With some
Sacramento.
furry dice hanging.
Yeah.
Nice. Gotta have a furry
Supermodel
dice.
girlfriend.
It's a rough life.
Yeah.
Rough.
Rough Rider. Sacramento was actually California's first incorporated city, and that was in 1850.
Really?
It was second tied. In second place was tied between San Jose, San Diego, and Benicia.
For some reason, I thought San Francisco was first.
And no, that came later. That was more with the trade stuff that came later. Also, another little-known fact: California has had 4 state capitals. The first was San Jose. The second was Vallejo. The third was Benicia. And there's actually still the state capitol building. The building that was the state capitol is still in Benicia. I've seen that. And then Sacramento. So, whatever. If you're a local Californian, you might find that interesting. If you're in another
Did you say
state,
Vallejo?
Vallejo was the second, and then
Wow.
Benicia.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't think they had a building built in Vallejo. They used the building.
They were there for a
obviously,
week and they were like, "Yeah, fuck this."
It was very short. I don't think Vallejo was quite like it is today back then, but it was a very short-lived time period. Benicia, however, was a few years, I think, and they built a brick building there. It's kind of cool. It's very small, nothing like the state capitol in Sacramento. If you live in California and haven't seen the state capitol, it's really pretty. It's a big white building.
Yeah,
It's,
and it's if you haven't been to California and you lived in the Midwest, a lot of the state capitals in the Midwest are kind of like the capital here. Like the one in Indianapolis is very similar.
It looks like it's like that colonial house
Yep.
looking with the white pillars and
The big dome with the big spot. Yeah, it's
and the
very-
gold ball at the top that nobody
Yeah.
gets to touch, but it's
And
up
you know,
there.
there's this internet thing where you can find pictures of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, unless you're a history buff, who really looks up pictures of state capitals? The only state capital I've ever seen is the one from California, because that's the state I live in.
Yeah.
I'm not into that stuff, but if I was, I guess I could go Google pictures of
That
of
could be your new-
Wyoming state capital. No offense to Wyoming, I never really thought to look at your state capital.
Well, why not?
I don't know. Well, now you put it in my head, I'm probably going to go look around at all the damn state
You can look
capitals.
at every one of them. And
Yeah, all
Episode 51, State Capitol Buildings and how similar they are.
That's right.
with Ben.
You can run off stats about that. Whether you know it or not, we are a largely blue state. Roughly 63% of registered voters, of which there are 25 million of our 40 million, are Democratic. 44.6% Democratic, 25.4% Republican, and get this, 25% no party preference. That's weird. The same amount of Republicans we have here, we have equal number of people who can't decide.
So if we just got all the people that know better than to ally with one of these two main branches to conform, and
That's right. We could actually get an independent win.
maybe
Not that that would matter for the country, but nevertheless, it'd be interesting here. I'd like to
It's a
hide and
start.
watch that one.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall on that one.
I wonder if the 25% of the independent ones are former Republicans.
I don't. I don't know. And it did say it did have other options that were selected or whatever, but those are the major ones. And it listed it as this particular stat listed as no party preference. So I don't know really what that doesn't necessarily mean independent though, right?
No, not
It's
I'm
not the
sorry.
same thing.
Independent wasn't the proper term.
Oh.
I kind of meant like not blue
Associating
or red. Yeah.
And I don't know if no party preference was that, or if I don't know. I got confused on that kind of stat because they listed out other things too, so other options too. So anyway,
I'm politically retarded. Don't listen to anything. I say
well,
on
me
subjects.
too. That's why I don't know I guess why I don't know the difference. But no, either way, 25% of whatever the hell no party preference is a freaking large amount, right? I mean, that's a significant. That's as many.
It's a lot of 40 million population, 25%.
Yeah, I mean that's the same amount of Republicans we have here. That's crazy.
Wow.
So it's obviously a large amount. I mean, there's going to be a high density of the other option that we have, right? Let's see. We were the first to legalize medical marijuana, but for some weird reason, we were the 6th to legalize recreational.
it's because we also corporations run our
Yeah.
state.
That's probably why, because they were banking off of
Oh, well, they had
medical marijuana crap.
The law that did get passed was just pretty much a big handout to
You mean the medical or the
Yeah,
recreational?
the recreational passing was pretty much a handout to corporations that are established.
Yeah,
You just
personally,
gave them time to establish?
Yep.
Nice.
I think we jumped the ball on that one. I would have been happier if we would have decriminalized it and taken it off the Schedule 1 list and allowed.
Isn't the schedule a federal thing, though?
Yeah,
It is a
Yeah, so
federal.
we can't
That's
take-
what really needs to change.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But we can't change that by voting in California. I mean,
Correct. In just California alone.
we could
but I
let
think as a
people
nation,
well, yeah, that
if we
yes.
were to do that and then allow like legitimate medical schools study it, and we could figure out where it's actually helpful and where it's just a toy. But
Absolutely.
instead we made it a toy, and now no one's going to take it seriously.
However, the federal government has loosened its grips on Schedule 1, what it has listed as Schedule 1 substances, including a big-time MDMA. That's a huge one. And also THC and also psilocybin, I have been reading.
Right. So it's still a Schedule 1 drug, so they can do
Yeah, but
what
they've
they
been
want. They're just not.
enforcing
They're
as
not
much.
No. Well,
Yeah.
they're loosening their grips on research purposes, letting institutions get it for research purposes. Is
Oh,
what I
I
meant to
see.
say. Yeah,
Okay.
because they're especially with MDMA, because with all the military PTSD cases and growing in numbers as they bring back people just like damaged and not doing anything for them, that's a huge problem. And thankfully the federal government agrees with that. I think is more and more and more. So they're opening up, enabling more research and handing out basically handing out more MDMA and other substances, psilocybin.
Where's that line at?
Well, I guess if you could convince somebody you had PTSD, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to have PSD in order to get into that line. But
That's not. Yeah.
that's not.
I wasn't
that's
getting in
not
line to get PMSD. I was getting.
PMS.
Wow.
Yeah, but sorry.
Yeah.
Too many damn letters going on there.
Too many acronyms. Yes,
Next
Jeez.
stat.
Is that the PMRC or the YMAKKWHY 974
it's the PMS. Man.
hut hut?
You don't want to mess with that. Let's see. We actually have a state song. This I did not know. I did not. I knew we had a state flower. We got a state flag. Okay.
Let me guess. Is it a song by Cypress Hill?
Dr. Green Thumb? No, it is not a rap song. It was actually written in 1913 and it is called "I Love You, California." I love you, California. It's got really weird lyrics too. I actually did not listen to a rendition of it, but there was no original artist that recorded it that I could find. There was like an original person that wrote it, and they didn't. So I don't know if it was like a folk song back in the day, and it wasn't like a recorded like by a famous artist or something, because I couldn't find like a how do I say this, like a singing artist that
Yeah.
originally recorded it.
If you can find the sheet music, man.
Why, you want to play it? The lyrics are pretty silly. It's like, I love Yosemite, I love California.
I'll bust it out if we can find it.
All right, nice. We may append that to an episode at some point of Glenn strumming a guitar and playing "I Love California." I may hold you to that. Actually, that's pretty damn funny.
Probably a YouTube video out there of like a third grade class singing it.
There actually, I found there was. Yes, there probably is. Yes, but there was actually. There have been a lot of famous. I can't remember now for what I was reading, but there have been a lot of famous people who have covered it, and people have added it and parts of it into other songs. It's been utilized and manipulated in many ways over the decades.
That's what we do in California,
That is exactly what we do.
Use
in
and
California.
manipulate.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, so true.
Is that what you guys think of us?
Well, I mean,
Well, that's what we're doing.
some of my experiences just walking around in California, because that's where I've spent most of my time. I'll say hi to random people on the side of the street, because that's just
They flip
how I
you
am.
off.
I've gotten that response. I've had people give you the full-on mean mug, like, and you get this impression of they're wondering what you're after.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It is what it is. And honestly, if somebody just comes up and starts talking to me, I'm gonna be okay,
What are you selling?
right.
Or what do you want to? Do you want to jack me? What do you want?
I could see that perspective depending upon the environment.
Yeah.
That
that does
the
vary.
jack me part.
Well,
It's that definitely varies where you are.
yeah.
I've
so
noticed in California.
in some of my time up in like the Pacific Northwest,
Mm-hmm.
Washington, Oregon, my interactions with people on the street has been totally different.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to go somewhere where people hold the door and say thank you, go to Texas.
Okay.
I've heard that, especially in the Bible Belt area. People are
I
supposedly.
don't know so much about the Bible Belt
more
because I grew up
polite.
in the Bible Belt, but
Yeah.
Texas for sure
Huh.
is very a hospitable place, and some of the South is too. But you go to places like I don't know. For me, I spent a lot of time in Indiana, And people in Indiana are not nowhere near as friendly. And
I've
I
heard
mean, they
Oklahoma
are. They
people
are
are real friendly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more so than California. You go here, nobody opens the door for you. Nobody.
No.
Every restaurant I go to, if I'm walking up there, somebody, it's like they're almost trying to shut it in my face.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
make it a
California
point
thing.
to hold doors open for
Yeah,
people.
me too.
It surprises the hell out of some people. It's just it's
Yeah,
funny.
and then sometimes you hold doors open for people around here, and they look at you like, "What the fuck's your problem?" You know, damn, lady, I'm just trying to help you. You got a walker.
Have you heard about our Lord and Savior?
Right.
As they're walking past, that's what they're expecting.
Would you like to buy a pamphlet?
Yeah. Do you have solar on your house?
Oh my! I love that one. Rolling around Home Depot. I've been asked that question so many times.
Yeah, so for those who aren't in California, California is a sunshine state, and they have capitalized on even our sun in more ways than one. You go to any damn Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store. They're probably
yeah.
set up an Ace hardware store. I don't know whatever you have in your state. And imagine there's some slimy salesman behind a stupid bannered 4-foot little plastic table with a green banner that says Solar City. And they're trying to sell you solar and get you caught up in that, payment scam for the rest of your life. And everywhere.
So, a little side note on this: California is often referred to as the Golden State. And do you know why that is?
Well, I thought it was because of the gold rush, but these days the sun's the golden goose.
It's our environment, our fields, our hills, all those rolling hills that run through Central California, all up the coast. The kind of the central body of the state. During late summer, it all turns to this yellow gold.
Okay.
It's actually the color of our fields.
Yeah, be careful. And be careful when you imagine the fields of gold because that shit looks like dead grass.
It is dead grass.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. When I go outside of California, especially during the summer, up to like Oregon or Washington, anywhere north,
Like, wow, you guys have green.
it's like beautiful up there. It's all green, and then they call Sacramento the city of trees, right? We do have a lot of trees.
Such
here.
a misclaimer.
Yeah, but you come here and it's like these trees are freaking ugly, dude.
And they're small and dwarfed.
Yeah,
and-
when they're dwarfed, exactly. When we go up north outside of California, it's freaking beautiful up there, especially Washington. It's wet. There's real green. I mean, it's not the same, but it's like when they show you pictures of the rolling green hills of Ireland, it's like that much closer than California is pretty much anywhere other than the north area.
yeah.
Or along the coast. There's a lot of green areas along the coast too. But
yeah,
No,
yeah.
Yeah, you get up Northern California, up like 101, where the coastal redwoods are. Freaking gorgeous.
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's one thing about California. I've lived half my life in Indiana and half my life here, and California has an amazing. Just the land in general is amazing. There's so many crazy like natural things to see. From Yosemite to like crazy beaches to the redwood forest and stuff. I mean, it's one of those places where you can get old and drive around in an RV and just see stuff.
Oh, there's
for
a
years,
ton of crap to see.
If you're into that traveling and things, you can go to and the desert's amazing. Everything from Joshua Tree. So yeah, this
Joshua
extreme.
trees.
So you can go from Joshua Tree to the redwood forest. And Southern California is more of a desert. I think it's pretty much what would you say? What would you say the break would be where it's like not desert anymore, north and south?
I haven't gone through
Probably
it.
Stockton,
Stockton.
Yeah.
okay.
Modesto, something like that.
Lower, I think lower.
I think
Lower.
anything south of the Grapevine, you're pretty much solid
that's-
desert.
Oh yeah, that's way south.
That's
there,
way
yeah.
it's way south.
But
Yeah.
Even north of that, though, or you have the farmland stretch all through 5 up through that way.
Yeah, like Central Valley.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is natural desert or just pumped in water for agriculture.
Yeah.
Or if it's
Well, that's another thing that's amazing too about California is the amount of food that we produce for the
Yeah,
world.
For the world.
For the
Oranges.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Rice.
if you've never driven through California, there's a lot of farmland. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I go there. Joshua trees. Those things used to look like they were furry. Yeah. To me, they look like they were furry driving on the side of the road. I have pulled over and ran through the sand
Oh, awesome.
to go touch one.
Yeah.
They are not soft at all.
no, you don't want to hug those trees.
No, they are super rough. And on top of that, my foot sank in over my shoe into the sand that was around it. This was not cool at
You
all.
want to put my cactus?
Dude, I was scared about like hitting a scorpion hole or something as I was running through the damn.
That's what I don't like about the desert. Yeah,
What?
creatures.
Yeah, there's some
Snakes,
creepy. Everything out there
scorpions.
wants to mess you up.
California has a lot of crazy animals, and the thing is, most of California never freezes. So
Yeah.
like if you live in like the Midwest or something, when the freeze comes in for wintertime, a lot of things get killed off. You know,
Yeah.
bugs, spiders. Where they here? No,
Yep.
things have been here for centuries.
You can
Things
get
hang
some
out.
awesome rattlesnakes.
Yeah, lots of them. We have rattlesnakes right across the pathways right across my house. I mean, if you
Wow.
they'll hang out on the because they come out in the summertime, right, when the asphalt stays warm.
Oh, yeah.
They'll come out there and chill out there because it's warm or whatever. One time, man, we went to this new development. That was the weirdest experience. We went over to this new development that the land had all been laid out. You know, the foundations for the houses had been laid. It was a housing development.
Yeah.
But they had not built any homes, and it was on a hill, and it was in the summertime. So we thought it would be fun to go out there and. We thought it would be fun to go out there and just hang out, have some beers, you know, just drink and be out there with nobody there, right? It was on top of a hill. So it was going to be like really expensive homes overlooking some area where, you know, how people like to build homes on a hill, right? Anyway, so we go out there and we're chilling in lounge chairs and we got our feet kicked up or whatever. And you could hear things moving around you. So we're in the middle of the paved street. The sidewalks have not been laid. The concrete for the sidewalks had not been laid yet, and there was basically like a gutter, if you will, along the side of the paved road area. And you're laying there, and you hear things moving, sliding. I don't know, but through the dead grass that was growing and had been cut in those gutter ways, right? And, well, me, because I'm paranoid and I always carry a flashlight. And I'm the Mr. Boy Scout prepared, right? I had a flashlight with me.
You and your flashlights.
I love flashlights. I have
Was it a head-mounted flashlight?
No, it was not. Shut up. I have a slight obsession with flashlights. Anyway, I got my flashlight out, busted out. There is freaking tons of rattlesnakes going in these gutters. That's how they, you know, traversed the area because it was like to them it was like this is awesome. And then what they would do is they would come up on the asphalt out of the gutter when they found a nice calm place to hang out and lay on the asphalt. So we had them come pretty close to us. We were making noise, being loud or whatever. Damn things were like, I don't know, maybe 7 feet away before they realized they don't like the vibrations, they don't like the noise or whatever. So they would turn away from us. But it was freaking creepy because those things were keeping a distance.
I was so close to being in a scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark for you.
Snakes on a plane, dude. Raiders of the Lost Ark, better example. I was thinking snakes on a plane. There's snakes on this motherfucking street. No. So yeah, okay, yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark, that would be better, yes. But those weren't rattlers. But anyway, nevertheless. It was creepy. But yeah, we got rattler snakes, no, for sure.
They get pretty big along the river as well, and they'll stretch out along the bike trail in the evenings, like you were saying.
Yep.
And if you're coming around those corners pretty fast in the summertime, it's hard to avoid hitting them.
Yeah, and I've heard if you run over them, a lot of times they flip up and they can get your ankle if they can bite you.
They're not trying to bite you; they're trying to get away.
Yeah.
But they get tangled up. I've seen them tangled up in people's spokes and stuff.
Oh.
It's like, how do you know how you get out of that?
Yeah, you can't grab it and undo it. You got to hope it can figure itself out, or
Yeah, they're pretty pissed off at that point.
you just squished it and wrapped it up in your spoke.
I'd be pissed too. I'm out there trying to get a tan, and some guy steps on me. And
Some dick on his bike
Yeah.
comes rolling through
The
here.
wheel just rolls over me.
That
I've
doesn't
heard-
happen in any other state, right?
Man, I had a
That's just California.
Or the snakes call you dick for rolling over.
Bro,
Bruh,
What's up, bro?
you hella just ran over me.
come
Yeah.
at me.
Come at me, bruh.
you mad, bro?
Right.
I ain't got no legs.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I'm sorry. go ahead.
I was rattlesnake story.
Yeah.
Camping out.
Because that's a California thing, apparently.
Well, we have a lot of dry grass land in California. It's natural rattlesnake habitat. They're just part of life here. Out camping off of Lake Sonoma, and had a rattlesnake roll right through the center of camp.
Oh.
It rolled right up to the fire pit that we had set up, and just started chilling with us. And we're sitting back and we're drinking some beers, and we're just kind of looking at it. And it's checking us out, and we're just okay. Eventually, it moved along, but
As long as he wasn't rattling, I'd just keep my distance. I wouldn't mess with him. But yeah, it is unnerving.
the best one are the pigs.
Pigs?
Oh yeah,
Explain.
oink oink.
I mean, what do you mean pigs?
Like-
What's the best
what are
one?
you talking about?
Oh,
I've never seen a pig anywhere.
Encountering
over.
wildlife. in
Like
California.
a hog?
Yeah.
Dude, those things are hella mean, I heard.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
They come up to you and like,
I was
Fuck you up. They
so
come up to you.
camp trip again. I out backpacking around there and woke up with a hog in my face.
shut up.
Were you
Wait.
drinking the night before?
Oh yeah. Well, so it was sniffing around the camp, and what woke us up was it got into the ice chest and started crunching through the beers. It was straight up drinking our beer.
Dude, he was probably fucked up by the time he woke you up. He's like, what's up, bruh? He's a California hog, of course. So he says, bruh.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, so it's
Wow.
crunching, drinking the beer. We're awake, and then it comes sniffing up, and it's like, oh, okay.
Did it have beer breath?
You know what? I wasn't checking.
Wow.
Wow.
I saw this
great.
video on YouTube one time of these guys hunting these wild boars, wild hogs, whatever. I don't know the difference, but it was nuts. They had night vision scopes and they had cameras attached to the night vision scopes. So you could see, they were recording what they were seeing. It was awesome in the sense of, wow, that's cool technology, I guess. But yeah, so they were night vision scope hunting these boars in the middle of a field. It was nuts, dude.
Wow.
Really crazy. Anyway, those things will seriously charge you. They had a couple on video where they'll go into a clearing. And the thing will be, I don't know, 30 feet away or whatever. And you could see it, like, because, it's all green. It's night vision, right? You can see the damn thing turn and look at the guy and, like, then start charging him out. It's just like it made a split-second decision, like, am I going to mess this thing up or am I going to continue on
That's
down
when you
the
start
road?
shooting at the
Oh,
damn
yeah. Well,
things.
the guy laid it out real quick. I mean, obviously, if he's seen it, it's through his scope. So,
Right.
the crosshairs are right there, basically. So, yeah, you just take it down. But, yeah, wow. That was nuts. I
Well,
heard those things are crazy.
Yeah. Well, one thing we were talking about earlier, I think it's something to distinguish too about California is there's a massive difference between Southern California and Northern California.
Massive.
Massive. And I spent most of my life up until the last 7 years in Southern California. So moving up here, I had been here for different things, but I'd never lived here and never like really got to know people that were in like the capital city and like Nevada City,
capital
Placerville,
city.
like all these other places.
Yeah.
So and I think that's a giant thing about California is it's so different in so many. It's such a large place that if you anywhere else in America, if you travel 400 miles, it's going to be a different place.
Yeah.
And that's the difference we have between Sacramento and Los Angeles. 400 miles. It's a completely different world.
Dude, California, you can travel 40 miles north and you will meet people that have nothing. You have nothing in common with.
Right.
I mean, they're in a completely different world. It's ridiculous. Our rural California versus our urban California versus our densely populated urban California.
So much different.
Yeah, they're night and day. They're not even the same people. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I've always lived in bigger cities like Los Angeles and stuff, and you get. I think when you're in any big city, one of the things you get is a lot of people who have moved into there from other places.
Yeah.
I think it brings a lot of people in, and Los Angeles obviously is a huge point of that. And you meet, with the entertainment industry and things like that. But that also goes into the identity of California. I feel like Southern California, a lot of people around the rest of the country identify California as Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The entertainment
Well, I
industry.
mean, look at the numbers. That's the massive portion of that in San Francisco, right?
Well, exactly, and that's but with Los Angeles, it's one of those things where it's like a culture shaping place.
Yep.
Because of having Hollywood and things like that, and even the music industry and stuff like that for years and years, Los Angeles has been like a jumping board for like art and entertainment. Probably more so entertainment and film, but those things have changed culture in general, and so it's an identity that's been built from so many other people around the country. When you're there, it's so much different. When you come to Northern California, it's like that's all.
Well, now, okay.
It's like a whole different world.
Yeah, for sure, and but nevertheless, growing as the decades roll past equally is influential because in Northern California, depending on what you consider Northern California, we've got Silicon Valley. And you talk
Absolutely.
about another area that has influenced the world,
And culture.
in culture and in just changing the world.
I would almost classify the Bay Area as something separate from the rest
Completely
of
I think I would too. Yeah.
Completely separate.
But people in Southern California would say the same thing about like certain areas of Los Angeles, right? You could go further south from Los Angeles,
Like Orange
Imperial
County.
Valley, or like you were saying,
Yeah, like when I lived
Orange
in
County.
LA, if you were in Orange County, we just said you live behind the orange curtain.
Yeah, that'd be like calling someone up north from the state of Jefferson here
Right.
in the Sacramento area.
Yeah, if you don't know about that, we have this thing that's called the state of Jefferson. We've got a whole bunch of people up north who are hoping and not really made any progress to separate California into two states. And they want to call that northern half of California the state of Jefferson. I don't know if that's what actually would be the final name, but that's what they're calling it to promote it.
It was something that was being proposed before the Vietnam War.
It was
And
before
so
World War II.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
so they hopped on that bandwagon and tried to continue it.
Yeah.
Well,
So once the war happened, it really lost steam, and
Well, there's still people up there promoting it. And when I go up there, up further up northern areas,
it's more active now than it
Yeah.
has been.
yeah. But
in
the only
years.
things so to give you an example, the only thing I see promoting it is your churches and basically white Republicans. That's the only thing I see at all public. And every time I've been approached about it, so I mean, they're trying to. It almost seems like they're trying to like bring back the "Make America Great Again" type stuff.
Yeah, but it goes into another thing about Northern California too, and I think there's a giant misconception that a lot of people have about California. A lot of people in the East, especially when they talk about California, everybody has a different view of what it really is.
Yeah.
Especially if you've never been there, but a lot of them immediately go to like no guns and this and no
Oh, yeah.
Republicans like it. Man, you go to Northern California, it is. You go out in the woods and all these places in Auburn and North. I mean, everybody's got a gun. Everybody's. I mean,
yeah.
it's a different world. It's out rural areas in the mountains.
Basically, once you leave our densely populated areas, it is like any other rural state. I mean, it just
Absolutely.
completely shifts. It's a polar opposite for
Yeah.
sure.
And it's crazy too when you think about like the Central Valley with all the farming and agriculture that goes on there, and how big the Central Valley really is. And the Central Valley of California that grows a massive amount of food for the world. It's bigger than most states.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that bugs me about. So if we talk about a little bit about agriculture, one of the things that kills that is different about California with respect to the rural areas is they're all a lot of them are Republicans, most of them are Trump supporters, most of them are big wall promoters, most of them are anti-immigration. Get out the unregistered residents. However, in California, it's different because all those rural areas, all that farmland, because in California, a lot of our rural areas is farmland, needs and has depended since its dawn of its creation on those immigrants. So it's kind of an interesting blend of Republicans that actually don't completely hate immigration because if it weren't for the immigration, they would not have workers, they would not have farms, we would not be producing all these goods, and California basically wouldn't exist at all. We still have a massive number of Mexican immigrants that come and live into the state and work. They don't just feed off of the social systems like they like to promote.
And to expand on that, the farmers or whatever that are working and live in those areas have a better understanding of the Mexican culture. So I'd expand on that even further. It's like they're the ones that appreciate the Mexicans migrating over. Some of them take advantage of the illegal immigration, but I believe most of them are on board with legal immigration.
Yeah, when they
Right.
started forcing them, when they started banding together to form unions and protect themselves to not be treated like basically indentured servants, that's when all of a sudden the farmers got pissed off and were like, wait a minute, you guys shouldn't be here anyway, because once they had to pay them legitimate wages, it was like, well, fuck that. Why don't I just hire somebody else now? The only reason I was bringing you people is because I could torture you and belittle you and pay you nothing.
Nah, I disagree with
Even
that.
though that Mexicans are actually the native culture to California.
Right.
It used to be owned by Mexico, long ago.
Yeah, and in a lot of those small communities, they're mostly populated by people of Hispanic culture or background. Yeah,
But for me, like I said, when you go into these rural areas, I've traveled the country a lot, the United States, and there's so many places you go in California. You could be anywhere. I mean, other than the fact that a lot of it's
What do you
really
mean?
dry. Well, just like going somewhere like rural areas of California. I mean, it could be anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country. I mean, so many places start to seem the same.
Oh, they look the same. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
But it's just crazy to me how California, how big California is. I mean, I've been here 16, 18 years, something like that, and I've traveled around this place a lot, and I've still not seen a vast majority of this place.
Yep.
I feel like that's one of the favorite things. Like when I lived in Los Angeles, I really enjoyed living in a big city because there were so many cool things to do and there was so much to see. You could live there forever and never see anything.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think is super cool about California is you could live here forever and not see it all. There's so many crazy weekend trips and cool places to go to,
That's part of the reason that I really want to do the Pacific Crest Trail.
right?
That'd
Check
be
it.
nuts.
See
yeah.
another view of California.
Oh yeah, something that you can't see from the roads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and get a glimpse of what this place looked like 200 years ago.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Google that if you don't know anything about that. That's pretty nuts. Pretty cool. If you're into that outdoorsy stuff, getting outdoors more.
Yeah, right. Starting at Mexico and then walking all the way to Canada.
Oh yeah,
That's
That'd
nuts.
That'd be a pretty amazing trip in general.
Big
Was it
time.
like 4 months or something?
yeah, about.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who come from out of the country to come do that.
Something like 2,200 miles.
Wow.
That's a long way to walk, man.
Well, you walked across the continent.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Let's go over some of these. We already mentioned a couple of them. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of our common stereotypes because I've met people like through gaming online or whatever, never been to California, never been out of their state either. And I just like, I've been out of the state a couple of times, but for the most part, I've not much.
I've been to Oregon.
Yeah, I've been to Oregon, been to Washington, been to Hawaii, and that's
You can almost fall
it.
into Oregon if you live in California.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. If
Had
you
to get
drive too
gas
far.
when we went
Same
really
thing with
far.
Nevada, right? Same thing in Nevada. If you
Oh, yeah.
drive too far, you're in Nevada. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
Well, I mean, if you got to go buy ammo anymore, you got to go to Nevada.
Oh,
So
man.
Get your bumper chromed.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
hop over the Sierras and
So the first thing is we're not all surfers. Like most of us don't live on the beach. Most of us can afford to live near
although
the
I
beach.
totally have been surfing, so
I've never been surfing.
you're missing out.
I'm not really
I've-
comfortable in the water.
Getting a face full of sand is
Right.
is
Oh,
awesome.
man.
We
Feels really
we don't all have blonde hair.
We do not all have blonde hair. That's true. We also don't all always have perfect weather. As a matter of fact, if you might be able to hear in the background, it's pouring rain on our tin shed right now.
Like the last 12 podcasts we
I
recorded.
know. I don't understand what it is. It's because of the winter, and usually we don't get that much rain, but it's been hitting every single time we've been recording.
You know that Sacramento actually gets more rain annually than Seattle?
What?
That's because it comes down in higher volumes in shorter periods of time.
Exactly.
So that was one thing I was going to point out with the perfect weather thing. Our weather's pretty damn good, right? We have a few days where it rains and people just stay inside, whereas like if you lived in Seattle, you're just going to get wet and everybody deals with
You
that.
just keep moving.
Yeah, or you live in the South in the summertime, it's humid as fuck and you just deal with that.
When I said the perfect weather thing, I was kind of tying it back to the surfer thing. You know, it's
Yeah.
like we don't all have 78 degrees or 76 degree weather all the time.
If you live in Los Angeles, you do.
yeah, if we
right.
live in San Diego or some, there are areas that have it, but we don't.
So going off your stats, most of California does always have perfect weather. If you're in San Diego, Los
Bay Area.
Angeles, and the Bay Area, it's never below 60 or above 75.
So if you're
really cool.
in one of those major population zones that make up the majority of those numbers,
You're broke.
And that's why. Yeah, well, when I lived in Inglewood, my last studio in LA, I didn't have heat or air conditioning in my building.
and were you ever uncomfortable?
Maybe like 4 days a year.
yeah.
I'm serious. I swear to God, I felt like every day I walk out and be like, oh, it's 71 degrees.
Yeah, Thomas has a big heater in this warehouse that's trying to heat us up, and we have a secondary one on the floor right now.
Did it go out again?
No,
No,
it's
still
going in because I'm freezing all the time.
'Cause, yeah, we're in California. We're freezing. And that's another thing, too, is when I moved to Sacramento, I didn't realize that, it can get 28 degrees in California, because I'd been in Southern California
and all the
forever.
people from the East Coast are like 28 degrees. These assholes.
just
Like,
laughing.
negative 28 degrees in my house. I'd die if my literally freeze to death in my bed if my furnace died or went out.
But what's weird is like surviving here. There's so many differences. Well, I'm just saying, like just being a person living on the planet. So, like in California, if you don't know, everybody in California has their water heater in their garage or outside.
That's not normal?
Hell no, that's not normal.
It would
Where do they-
freeze.
It would freeze.
Well, where do they put their water heater? Inside the house?
Usually in the basement.
Oh, we don't have basements.
That's why.
Yeah, we don't have basements, and we have
either.
our water heaters in the garage. That's crazy.
But having it in the garage seems crazy to me because you're like, okay, it's got a pilot light, and you park your car there.
That
In the
is weird.
70s, that could have probably been a problem. With
Yeah.
electric cars now, maybe not so much, but that seemed
I
weird
heard-
to me.
I heard too in a lot of the other states they build houses with drains built into the garages too.
Yeah.
'Cause the snow.
That's
when
pretty
they come in-
common. Yeah,
that makes
you're
sense.
dealing with a lot more water
Yeah, we
in
do
general.
not have drains in our garages.
Yeah,
either.
and everything's on a slab here.
Yeah, we don't have furnaces for the most part. I guess some older homes might. What
There's a
else?
lot of weird differences in the construction, and when
Solar is huge here.
Solar's huge, but when I first moved here, because I've always kind of worked on houses and worked on
We have flat
construction
roofs.
flat roofs. But it was weird because I get here and everybody's like, oh, California's so strict on their code, blah, blah. And I'm looking at a lot of the house, and every time the wind blows over 40 miles an hour, like half the shit falls down. I'm like, where are these massive codes? I'm just like 3 sticks and a nail holding this house up.
But
Staples.
That
wouldn't last in Indiana,
fire
dude.
and earthquake.
That's
Those
true.
are the big dangers here. High winds, that's not an issue. I mean,
we don't really have high
snowfall.
winds.
No, we can have a flat roof and not have a roof collapse.
Right.
You do that in.
What do you? Okay, wait.
You know
what,
what?
what
But
do
it
you
seems to
mean
me if
flat
we're going to
roof?
have all these heavy codes, we should make something that could take all of that because that might happen. The wind might blow, people.
So what I mean by flat roofs
Yeah.
are the slope. The slope of the roof.
Yeah,
pitch.
but
The
my
pitch is
my
low.
roof has a slope. What do you mean flat?
How the degree of the slope also
It's very
commercial
low, yeah.
commercial centers larger supermarkets? Do you see a big peak on there?
because they don't have to bear the weight of the snow. I see what you're saying.
Right. So
Okay.
they have
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what's crazy is a lot of those have gravel
Uh-huh.
on the roof.
Yeah.
That wouldn't fly back east either.
Really?
No.
Yeah, a lot of our buildings have gravel. Yeah, on the roof.
There's a lot
and
of
they paint
weird.
it all white or
There's a lot of
whatever.
weird differences in the construction of just like a basic house between like the Midwest or the rest of the country, really, in California. The non-basement thing is crazy, but it's
Weird.
earthquake situation. But it's weird to think for me, being in in the Midwest or the East Coast, and you go and you buy an $800,000 house. That thing is like a bullet shelter. You know what I mean? It is a stern built, constructed house that is going to take a beating. You come here and for like $600,000,
It's a
you
track
get like
home.
you get a track home with a trailer holding it up or something.
if you're lucky.
Yeah, and about 15 square feet of a backyard
Yeah, really, all house, no land.
Okay.
and an HOA.
Seriously, just going through like the MLS listings last night. In the
Oh wait, for those that,
Sacramento.
for those that don't know, MLS listings. Glenn's looking at buying a house, so their MLS listings is what does it stand for? I can't remember what it stands for. It's what lists all the homes for sale.
But to be able to buy a house in California, you have to either be a billionaire or luckier than shit.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Looking in the general Sacramento area, and baseline for something decent is $400,000.
Yeah.
I mean, just starting out. There's some
Yeah.
properties that are a little cheaper, but they.
Yeah, and that's
If
like
you- yeah.
1,600, 1,800 square feet. That's not even a huge. I mean, that's a good amount of space, especially for one or two people. But it's not
Yeah.
like
But
a
what's-
massive house for
But
400.
what's
grand.
crazy though too is I was just working downtown, and we talked about rents and stuff in California and the cost of living here. And there's an extreme and there's a ridiculous factor that happens around here, and everybody knows that. If you live in New York,
In the
there's
cities, it's a
in cities
ridiculous
like
factor.
New York and L.A. or whatever. But recently, Sacramento has all of a sudden become this, given itself this identity of this being this major metropolitan city. And if you've lived in major metropolitan cities like myself, it's laughable.
Because it's very much not.
It's very much not.
Yeah.
But
It's got major metropolitan pricing.
yeah, but down the street, as I was working on someone's house this week, there was a 1,400 square foot, 3-story loft that was renting for $37.50 a month.
Wow.
Jesus. The people in the Bay Area listen to us are like, Psh, that ain't nothing, dude.
Child's
1,400
play.
square feet, that's huge.
Right.
No, but the rest of the country, that is absolutely ridiculous.
And there's no beach here,
no, there will be homeless people camping out right on your front lawn.
right? Yeah.
You may come out and have shit on your stairs.
That's not a joke, by the way.
That's not a joke. No. Yeah.
But it's ridiculous, And for years when I lived in LA, having friends that lived all over the country, we'd talk about rent and things like that. And California's obviously going to be expensive for things like rent because you have a lot of people who want to live here.
Yeah.
So you have competition,
Yeah.
and we have all these crazy things been going on lately, like the Camp Fire that just displaced 10,000 people in
Oh,
Northern
man.
California.
That-
So
yeah.
our natural disasters are serious, and so it displaces a lot of people, and it changes the rent, whether it's availability and the cost,
We're a big tinderbox.
right?
That and part of the rent spike though is like people are getting priced out of the Bay Area
Yeah.
and they're being pushed into Sacramento. Some of those people
Oh,
are
yeah.
still choosing to commute to their job in the Bay Area instead of like relocating entirely to a place like Reno.
I think if they do that for a couple of years, they'll probably. I feel like people will do that and be like, "Yeah, but I got to keep my job." And they're like 2 years into that, driving that every day. They're like, "You know what? I'd rather work at a grocery store right now and
My
drive
buddies-
this again."
My buddy's dad did that for his entire career. He drove into the Bay Area every day, and so his family didn't have to live in an apartment in the Bay Area. They had like a nice big house in an established part of
In
Fair
what
Oaks.
area?
Fair
Oh,
Oaks.
Fair Oaks? Okay.
Yeah, think about that, guys. That's like a 2-3 hour commute one way
One
every
way.
day.
Yeah.
You're talking 5-6 hours a day.
Well, when
on
I was
the road.
when I was in LA, I had friends that lived in Palmdale that worked in downtown LA. So just to give you just a mileage difference, that'd be like working in Sacramento and living in Chico. Sorry, working in the Bay Area and living in Chico.
which Rick knows a little bit
Yeah,
about.
I do about that. I go from Chico to Sacramento.
Hey, you used to go from Bay Area to Chico.
Yeah, so that was a weekend commute, right? So I worked in the Bay. And my wife.
So even on the weekend, what was that commute like?
It was a motherfucker because I wouldn't leave the Bay Area. Traffic was so bad on a Friday, I would wait until 10 p.m. to leave my house in San Jose.
I would totally do that.
I would arrive in Chico at like 1 in the morning. And I worked for a startup company, so I was burned out anyways. And then on my way home, it's like I'd get back to my apartment probably like 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and go back to work, and I still hadn't done like all my laundry and shit.
So you
It was
stank.
rough.
That's
You were
love.
late.
That's love, folks. That's
The
love.
typical Bay Area.
Yeah, I'm cool. I got about a 45 minute to an hour commute. If it's the worst, it'll be an hour and 15. Thomas has like a 20-minute commute if it's
I have
bad.
an 8-minute commute.
Yeah, if there's traffic.
Yeah, which I don't.
What's your
don't-
Glenn works in a lot of different areas, so
It depends.
Yeah.
But you're driving all the time in different locations.
Right.
too.
that's part
my,
of the job.
my favorite one is leaving San Jose at like 2:30 p.m. heading back
Oh,
to
God.
Roseville.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
I've seriously left at around 2:30 p.m. and not gotten to Roseville till 8 p.m.
Oh, that ain't shit. I left one time from Los Gatos, and I wanted to get to Chico by like 7 for a family event that they had going on. I got to the Benicia Bridge at 6:30, and I was fucking pissed.
So for the people who don't know, how many miles would you say that is?
I could have run it in less time.
I could have walked it with a bad knee less than time.
Yeah, I don't know how many miles that is, but it's not very far.
It's less than 20.
Yeah, without traffic, it would
I
have taken me like 40 minutes.
I think it's about 100
hour.
from Sacramento to Chico,
It is. It's right at 100.
and then from Sacramento to Los Gatos. I don't know.
That's kind of far, though.
That's far. Yeah, I
like
don't know.
like from here to Santa Cruz is actually kind of a far drive.
yeah.
You know,
Anyway,
even without traffic.
we're gonna depress all the listeners with our damn commute way, but it's a California thing. Like
People
a
on
lot,
the East Coast are just laughing the same way.
a lot of us commute out here, so it is a part of life for a lot of people. And having a half hour to 45-minute commute every day one way is not uncommon at all.
Yeah, I think in California, an hour one way is probably
Pretty much. That's
common.
basically what I'm about. You,
But
like
that's
I
a
said,
lot of
40.
major metropolitan cities because you
True.
think of traffic,
Sure.
average person. Like when I was in Chicago, it seemed like I was stuck in traffic constantly. You know, when you live in LA and you don't have a regular 9-to-5 job, you learn how to get around LA without getting on the highway. I hardly ever drove on the highway when I lived there.
Ah, that's nuts.
So-
Our surface streets aren't that well connected.
Oh, there in LA, it's very.
Wow.
You can drive anywhere from point. Like I lived in Inglewood, and I could get to Atwater or Burbank and never touch a highway. And you're
Wow.
talking about maybe a 20-mile total one way.
Okay, so the distance between San Jose and Sacramento is 122 miles.
wow.
So
you go.
so in a normal situation anywhere in the world, you should be able to make that in less than 3 hours.
Yes.
122 plus 100. So there was Rick's 220 mile commute to go see the love of his life.
Oh, no, I went to Chico.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. So from San Jose to Sacramento was
Yeah.
122 plus another 100 from Sacramento
I
to
see what
Chico is
you're saying.
220, about
Yeah.
220. Yeah,
Jeez, man.
she must be a hell of a girl.
I hope she's worth it.
Back to our stereotypes. Not okay. We already kind of touched on this one, but maybe we can expand on it more. Not everyone here is a hardcore liberal. Obviously,
No.
obviously, you saw
absolutely.
the stats. 25% of us can't even figure out. Well, don't like either of them. We should say.
Right.
Well, they're both stupid, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. We're definitely in that 25% that doesn't want
And
to
if
be
you pick
part
one,
of
you
it.
get to go. I'm stupid.
Yeah, 75% of us are in that group.
Yeah, there you go. 75% are I'm with stupid. Yes,
No,
or
wait, what?
69%. 69% is I'm with stupid because there's 44% Democrat, 25% Republican. So they get to wear the shirt. They're with stupid. 25% of us can stay. Fuck that. I'm going elsewhere.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I'm going home, dude. Yes. And contrary to popular belief, we do not all hate and are scared of firearms.
I love
All
my
right.
guns.
Everyone here at this table owns firearms.
Absolutely.
In the plural sense.
Yeah.
We
But-
are very much not scared and very much love
Yeah,
our
but,
firearms.
but you know it's crazy. Like all my friends that live in the Midwest, when they talk about California, you know, most people I think outside of California, like east of Colorado, don't have a great view of California.
No.
And I always say to people that downplay something like that. Well, if you've never been there, maybe you shouldn't say it's a horrible place. Let's just start with that. Places I've never been to, I'm not gonna complain about how terrible they are because I don't freaking know.
Yeah, except for that one place.
Yeah, that one
place.
Well, that one girl won't give me the pizza slice.
Right.
Is that what they're calling it these days? Pizza
Pizza
slice?
slice.
But I think it
They
always
are
comes
now.
down to that. People embellish the stereotype of something that they're not really familiar with, right? So,
Oh,
like
yeah.
with the guns,
Prejudice.
yeah, they're prejudiced.
Prejudging.
The people that I know that dislike them the most don't have any experience with them
Dude.
at all. It's a lack of education. It's a irrational fear of
Yes.
That, you can
inanimate
apply that to a
objects.
lot of subjects. though.
Absolutely.
That's what I was getting at, like with your point of
Yeah.
they hate the state of California. They've never been there, so they're just going off of an embellished stereotype from what they've heard. Same thing with the anti-gunners. I've met plenty of people that I was surprised to find out that they were gun owners
Me
in
too.
this state.
And vice versa. They're
Right.
afraid of them or whatever.
Yeah, that as well. But I think as far as the anti-gunners go, in my experience, it's been due to a lack of experience and education, and just been fed garbage, and they just buy into it, and they're closed-minded to getting an education and getting experience with a firearm.
Same.
Yeah.
You're going to say something, Glenn? Sorry.
Oh, just yeah, they drink the Kool-Aid.
We're all drinking a Kool-Aid, but nevertheless, yeah, totally. And most of our urban or higher populated areas do not incorporate guns or archery or basically anything that can be construed as a weapon into your early stages of development, so to speak. So like your K through 12, we don't have shooting sports.
I
or-
got to do archery in high school.
I heard of some schools that would do that, but also too, where we went to high school is a little more. There were some more rural area people
Yeah, you
coming
weren't
in from there.
You weren't in Watts.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
you weren't in South Sac, you know. And mostly all they do there is sports, and a lot of these schools have taken away wood shop, metal shop. There was no wood shop or metal shop in my school the last
I love
2
those
years.
two.
They ended the wood shop. Yeah, the metal shop was dead long before we got there.
Yep.
Yeah, but I found out that Wood Creek High School in Roseville, they have a trap team.
Really?
I was really
Wow.
surprised to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
cool.
is- yeah. So okay, well maybe they're changing their tune a little bit, but I know in a lot of, and I've heard, I don't know for sure, but a lot of high schools and all over the country, I mean, that stuff is still incorporated, as it should be. It's like any other sport.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could see it on the Olympics and we could watch it on TV, why in the hell wouldn't it be an option for high schoolers to do?
Well, they let their kids play water polo. More people drown than die of a gun accident.
Water polo. I had a buddy. that
Guns
played
don't-
water polo.
Pools kill people.
Yeah.
Dude,
More and more
water
of it.
kills.
And those little Speedos, man.
You can't
Kills your
reproduce.
nuts.
too
Kills your nuts,
constricting.
dude.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of weird stereotypes from California too. And when I travel, I hear when I say sometimes when I travel, depends on where I'm at. I don't tell people I'm from California. I just avoid it altogether because they have. So I've heard people say the craziest thing. Everybody there's a liberal. They all think they know everything. I'm like, well, you're spouting off how you know everything.
Hypocrite.
You're hypocrite. You want me to get you a soapbox?
And us in California think you're all hypocrites. I think everybody else is. Ay, ay, ay.
I
Yep.
definitely need to go build a soapbox so I can just hand
Right.
it out to people when they're.
But right,
You
I do
carry
that.
this thing in the back of your truck.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but we do have a lot. I think that our population is a really crazy diverse thing, and I feel like a lot of people around the country have some sort of connection with California. I think it's
Yeah.
cool because there's a lot of states where not a lot of people move around, or when I lived in the Midwest, a lot of people I knew never had traveled, definitely never been out of the country, things like that. Especially when I lived in LA and even here in Sacramento, most of the people I meet have traveled, have been places, they've flown places. I mean, it's weird to me in 2019 to talk to somebody who's never been on an airplane.
That is weird. That would be weird.
And it's just crazy.
They are out there, though.
Yeah, and I mean, I knew tons of people that, in the Midwest that, like, they'd never left the city they grew up in and everything that. That's one of the things I think is really cool about California is I think people here are very adventurous in general, and they're very outgoing. And we do have good weather, so it does promote that
Yeah.
sort of mentality a lot. And that's one of the things I like about it. It's very healthy for the most part. When you go and visit the beach or go to a lot of places in California, like vacationing and stuff, I mean, it's, if you don't know your way around, no matter where you're at, it's going to be confusing. But I think in the overall, it's a fun experience. We have an amazing amount of things to see, from aquariums to natural things. I mean, it's a beautiful place to visit. And then, and I hear a lot of people when I go back east or somewhere, and they mouth off immediately, they spart off. And I'm like, you know what? There's jerks everywhere you live, dude. Come out and go to the beach with me and
There's
tell me what you
assholes
think.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's one of those great places where you don't have to leave the state to kind of visit a little bit of everything, right? Like you were saying with the diversity, you can go to authentic Indian food, you can go to the beach, you can go to the snow, whatever.
In the
it's
same
all
day.
here. Yeah, all in the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah, the diversity in the Sacramento area is very impressive, I feel.
Yeah, there are hundreds of languages being spoken, even in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
And Bay Area, of course, and
Yeah.
LA for sure. Yep.
We're also a great state to go for motorcycle rides.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Northern California
A lot
is
of bikers
awesome.
out here. Yep. A lot of people roll through, and there's a lot of beautiful stuff to see on the roads.
You get to split lanes and everything.
Oh yeah,
Is
the
that
split
not
lanes.
a thing in
No-
other?
no,
oh, dude,
nope.
no. We're one of the few states that allow it.
I find that very surprising
Me
because
too.
California is like big on making stupid rules to not let people have
Yeah.
fun. They're going to let motorcycle riders split lanes
Yes,
and no one else
so-
will.
So that's a holdover from the old Harleys, where if they sat and idled, they'd overheat.
I heard that. I've heard
So
that.
they are air cooled, so they have to maintain motion to prevent their engine from failing.
Okay.
A ridiculous design, but all right.
Yeah.
you
So I mean,
Okay, so the lane splitting, that's when traffic's backed up on the freeway, they can ride between them to
It doesn't
prevent
necessarily be
lighting.
on the
no.
freeway.
What
Any road-
what
any
it
roadway.
means is that two vehicles are not prohibited from sharing the same lane.
Okay.
So I mean, the law still applies if you're cutting back and forth over the stripe line. You're still
Yeah.
supposed to signal and do the move within 200 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But two vehicles can share the lane. In other states, only one vehicle at a time can be in that same location.
Huh, interesting.
And then also too, it's when you're at red lights too, because if you're at a red light or there's tons of traffic, you can cruise through tons of miles of traffic in LA. You can
Right
just
up the
cruise
front.
through the middle of it. And one of the things that I heard from a police officer one time was that part of the reason they promote it is so that a motorcycle can get in front of the cars. When the light turns green, they can get away from them. It's safer.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Also puts them the first in the intersection. If somebody runs a red light, they're the first
Well,
to get hit.
hopefully they're paying attention.
There you go. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything comes with a double-sided sword, a double-sided blade, right?
Sure. But
Catch
also
22.
it gives you maneuverability if somebody's coming up on your. I mean, there have been plenty of motorcycles that are killed or motorcyclists killed by somebody rear-ending them.
Oh yeah.
So if cars are stacking up and you can slip in between those line of traffics, it removes that danger.
That makes sense. Didn't the whole 1%er thing start in California too?
It did.
A lot of things like that. A lot of things.
yeah, we
motorcycle,
didn't even get into any of that stuff. It's a too broad of a topic to figure out. There's too much to encompass in that. Yeah,
California has a lot to offer and talk about.
Yeah, and then going back to one of the things I had started with is that the trend setting, global trend setter. I mean, that's in politics, that's in everything. I mean, technology. There isn't a person in this world who doesn't, on a daily basis, use something that started that originated from California, a California-based company, a California mind.
It's the end of the world.
Or the beginning.
It's the end of the Western world, is what they say.
Into the Western world.
Yep.
I like it. All right. On that note, thank you, everyone, especially if you've been with us since the beginning. 50 episodes in. Congratulations, gentlemen. It's been it's been a wonderful trip.
Yeah.
I look forward to the next 50 with you guys, and hope you guys are there listening with us. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time for episode 51. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.